Hi, this is Tom Hoskins for Mining Journal. I'm here with Rick Howes, who's president and CEO of Reunion Gold, which is a Toronto-listed gold explorer developing the Oko West project in Guyana. Rick, nice to meet you. How are you doing?
Great, Tom. It's great to be here. Thanks.
Not at all. Pleasure to have you with us. So, Rick, I understand you were lured out of retirement to join Reunion. Can you tell us what was so special about the company that made you make that decision?
Yeah, I'd spent 40 years in the mining industry. I retired in 2020. I was retired from my job as CEO of Dundee Precious Metals. Yeah, I was comfortably in retirement mode till I got a phone call one day that one of my old friends, the chairman of the company, David Fennell, gave me a call and asked me if I'd be willing to join. I probably said no the first 5 times he called, but he's a persistent guy. He talked me into going down to visit the site and take a look at the project. So I got a chance to go down there last year, and I was quite excited once I saw the drill results and the activity going on the prospecting license they had owned. And so I spent a bit of time in Guyana and got to look around and get a sense of the country itself, the jurisdiction in terms of how things worked. And again, that was for me very exciting. In my career, it's always difficult in some jurisdictions to get mining advanced and permitted. So this country seemed to be quite open to mining and was very supportive of the industry in general. And there were many operating mines in the country and long history to mining gold and bauxite and manganese and diamonds. So that excited me. And I guess the third thing was meeting the management team that had been Reunion. It was certainly a very experienced management team, a team that had been quite successful in the Guyana Shield over a period of more than 20 years. So I guess all those things were the three criteria that I would be looking for, and I guess the lure of I guess I wasn't done with my career, I guess would be the other way to say it. So this was enough to get me to jump the line and join back into the working class. So.
Yeah, okay, interesting. And what about the project itself? Can you tell us a little bit more about Oko West?
Yeah, it's a very exciting project. It's a discovery the company made in 2021. We've since been drilling it quite heavily, and we have now outlined a pretty significant orogenic gold deposit. It looks to be over 2 kilometers in strike length, and it's going down about 600 meters. And we continue to fill in a very continuous looking shear zone that contains quite good grades in gold. So the discovery has grown in a year and a half. We'll be close to putting a maiden resource estimate out in June, and that'll be the first sort of pin in the ground on how big this deposit really is. And we'll continue to explore the ground around it to see if we can find some more. So far it's been quite successful though.
Yeah, and so, I mean, let's talk a little bit about Guyana itself, because a lot of our viewers won't be that familiar with the country, and it seems to be sort of bucking the trend. In Latin America, political risk, operational risk has been a problem, and been getting worse. But Guyana is different. Can you talk a little bit about why that is?
Yeah, I mean, probably the first thing to say is that it's the fastest growing economy in the world today, and I'm sure many of the listeners would not be aware of that. It's a small country in the northern part of South America. It's an English-speaking country. It was once a British colony, but got its independence back in the 60s. But since the discovery of oil and gas offshore by Exxon in 2015, the country has been really going through a massive transformation. And the economy essentially now is growing at a rate of probably over 25% a year for the next 3 to 4 years. And it's already moved from 170th GDP per capita to its 54th GDP per capita in terms of the countries in the world, and is expected to climb as high as 30, the top 30 countries in the world in terms of GDP per capita. So that amount of sort of change for the citizens of the country is massive. And the investment that's going into the country to bring in new infrastructure, new roads, bridges, new power stations, new ports, new communications capabilities, new technology, is all happening at once. They're building new schools and new hospitals, building new universities. So it's all happening very quickly, and it's sort of an exciting place to be. But underlying that is a country that's quite stable from a fiscal regime and quite stable from a currency point of view, and it's quite stable from a government perspective as well. So it's always had mining as part of its history. It goes back a long ways. Gold mining has gone on there for a long time. So the rule of law around how things work there are very clear. It's a British system, British parliamentary democracy, and British rule of law. And mining has a clear sort of set of rules and regulations, and Mining Act, which has been in place for a long time. And so the country sort of sees that as a second leg of the stool as well in terms of the economy. So it's supportive for mining, and there's been many projects permitted there, and and obviously now with a lot of activity on the exploration front, many new mines, potential new mines to be coming on stream. So.
Yeah, so well, looking very positive from that perspective. And back to you as a company, what's your strategy for moving this project forward?
Well, given that it's a great jurisdiction, we intend to move very quickly. We've already found a sizable open pit amenable discovery, and as I said, quite good quality, good grades, and a good size. So our plans are to kind of have a dual track strategy. One is to rapidly advance and de-risk the initial discovery as an open pit mine, and continue to do the exploration in and around the property to see if we can't add to that picture over the next little while. So the rate at which we think we can bring this from discovery to production, we think it could be as quick as 6 years, which, in the mining industry, the average now today is somewhere around 18 years. So you can see we'll be moving quite fast. We've formed a partnership with G Mining Services to help us to advance the project from initial maiden resource estimates through the study phases and on into construction, ultimately, and commissioning of the project. So we have a team that's ready to go, that will allow us to develop the project as well.
Okay, fantastic. Well, Rick, thank you very much indeed for that snapshot of Reunion. That's all we have time for today, but just remains for me to thank you very much indeed for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Tom. Enjoyed it.
Not at all, and hopefully we'll see you again before long. But for now, that concludes this video for Mining Journal. Goodbye.